Hey guys, how's it going? Um, let's see. I'm gonna try to pin this so everybody knows what we're doing here today. Nice to see you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you get to stay so that we can happy then tap the comment and select pin. Okay, I'm posting it, but I know I'm supposed to say pin. So that's another fail on my end. I know that I'm supposed to put this in here in a different way, but I'm going to invite Carly to come and see us. Carly. All right, Carly. Let's see. Beekeepers Natural. There we are. Carly. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. I'm so excited about this conversation.
Hi.
Carly! Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so happy to see you.
Hi, Mama. How are you?
Hi. You guys, this is Carly Stein. She is the founder of Beekeepers Naturals, and I'm so excited to tell you guys about Beekeepers Naturals because it's a product that I'm I'm invested in it, and literally, and wanted to get out into the world to everyone's hands because it's a wellness product that I think everybody needs to have. And Carly founded it. Where are you, Carly, right now? Are you in New York?
I'm in Muskoka, Ontario. So I'm like in the woods in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Woo, how's it up there? How's quarantine in Muskoka?
It's good. I mean, it's so interesting for me because, I split time between New York and LA, and
right.
I just want to be in the woods all the time. Like, I just want to hang out in the forest. So
right.
I'm realizing how much I need to spend more time in nature.
More time. Get your hands in the dirt and feel the energy and the rustling of the trees. And do you mind if I ask some of the people here that are with us where they are watching from?
Of course.
I love to know who's with us. Where are you guys watching from? Colombia. Yay. Okay, perfect. Oh, another Ontarian. We also have, let's see. Yes, I agree. She should come out to LA. Jared says Portugal, Ontario, Boston, Orange, Mexico. Okay, we've got people of Brazil. We've got Alabama in the house, Quebec, South Carolina, Mexico again. We have a lot of people with us. Belgium, all over the world. Isn't this like the coolest thing? I love China, Morocco. Where else? Muskoka.
Oh,
she said it's hard to leave Muskoka. It's true. That's what Carly just told me. Well, I'm glad you're getting some quality time up there. I'm sorry, obviously, it's given the circumstances, but one of the things, the entire world being in a health crisis is a really interesting thing, for everybody to sort of comprehend. But actually, wellness and keeping people healthy is your business, right? Yeah. And so I wanted to I know that I use your products all the time. I use it for when I feel like I'm getting sick, and also to stay so that I'm not. Oh, Cuba in the house. Hola. Love it. So I use a lot of your products for wellness, just like to stay well, and also when I'm not feeling well. And so my favorite product is your bee propolis spray.
Yeah,
which I think is amazing. It's so good, and it tastes delicious too. I have to actually stop myself from overspraying it. And I also just received this cough syrup that you guys have, that you're about to put out on the market, launch into Whole Foods. Is that where it is?
Yeah, I'm so excited about that one.
Yeah, this is okay. So why bees? Why bees? What are they doing for us?
I mean, bees do so much for us. So, I mean, let's start with just what they do for the environment before we get into what they do for our bodies with their amazing products. So bees pollinate 1/3 of our food supply. They are critical to our entire ecosystem. They also pollinate so much of the plant life that other creatures rely on, but we don't realize it. But things like avocados, berries, apples, so many of the foods we eat are bee pollinated. And if we lost the bees, we would lose them.
Right. Is it 1 in every 5 bites of food we take
One,
beet?
one in every
1 in
three.
3.
Yeah.
So that's massive. I mean, you look around at anything that has a flower on it has relies on a bee to
Pretty
help
much.
pollinate it. Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
there's other pollinators, but bees are the busiest of them all, as they say.
Honeybees and bees are the most efficient pollinators.
Right.
And so, yeah, we really, really need them for our world.
Yeah. You know what I wanted to, I wanted to ask you, so, this little chat we're about to have is just a segue back to cheers to you is what I want to say. Cheers. I wanted to say cheers to you for doing this. But what are you drinking there?
Bourbon.
Does it have honey in it? Does it have honey in it?
No, I should though. That's smart.
Honey and bourbon, girl.
I actually have made bourbon elixirs before. I'll just make one right now.
I also love this too, the superfood.
Yes.
It's so good.
So I feel like I can tell you a little bit more why bees, because I answered why as an environmental element they're so critical. But for me, bees really changed my health and wellness. So I struggled with chronic tonsillitis. Yes. You know a little bit about
I love this. Well, it's a really fascinating story. I was going to ask you, tell us your story.
So I'm allergic to like every antibiotic and so many of the over-the-counter medicines. So growing up, I had chronic tonsillitis. I was always sick, and I can't take anything from cough syrup to the traditional antibiotics. So I was just always sick with nothing from a really early age. That pushed me to start exploring the natural world, and I was really excited about that world. And I think that there's so many incredible things, but ultimately nothing was strong enough. So I kind of was at this weird intersection where nothing on the natural side was effective enough for me. And on the traditional OTC side, I just couldn't take it. So I was like always sick. And when I was in college, I did a semester abroad. I was in Italy at the time that I got really sick with such severe tonsillitis that I was having a hard time breathing, and I was going to have to come home. And I was like, that's not happening. I busted my ass waitressing to get out here. I'm not leaving early. And I was just looking for anything. And I went into a pharmacy in Florence, and the pharmacist took one look at me, and I had like swollen chipmunk cheeks. And she was like, you need propolis. And I was like, okay, cool. What's propolis? And she's like, the bees. I was like, oh, so honey? And she's like, nope, propolis. I didn't know what it was. Like many of us, I just bought it. And in 5 days, I made a full recovery. So for me, what happened was propolis functioned in my body the way antibiotics do for most people. And it completely got rid of my tonsillitis. And since then, I just kind of started using bee products. And it was so interesting because Europe is so progressive with natural health. So I could find propolis, bee pollen, royal jelly, all of the stuff everywhere. And then I came back home to North America to finish up college, could not find it anywhere, literally went to every single health food store. I finally found propolis at this farmer's market, and it was like artisanal and organic and really beautiful, and $40 for like a tiny thing. And I bought it and I used it, and I had a really severe allergic reaction. So I was like, what is going on? I found the stuff I need and it's not working. And I ran a toxicity panel on that product, and I figured out that there was trace amounts of pesticides. So I started learning a little bit more about the environment in North America and how a lot of bee products actually have pesticide exposure. And so I was like, one, this is really hard to find. When I did find it, it was not in the quality that I'm into. So I guess I have to do this myself. So I started beekeeping. Very weird hobby.
You're basically like, okay, I've been sick my whole life. Yeah. Nothing's worked. You found somebody who has knowledge of this pharmacist who in Europe and Italy gave you this product that is used and proven to be useful and work. You use it, it changes your life. You come back here to America and try to find a similar product and find that you can't. And so you become an actual beekeeper yourself. And what was your intention? Where were you going with this?
So, I mean, I've always been very into nature, and I was not thinking about it as a company at all at the time. I was just like, look, this stuff works for me. I'm desperate. I want to feel well. I'm so sick of just chronically being in pain and feeling under the weather and having such a weak immune system. And so I was like, I mean, I need to get this stuff. I'll just do it myself. And I started beekeeping, and then I just fell in love with that.
Will you explain to people what propolis is? Because we
Yeah.
know honey, we know royal jelly, but we can go into what they do for us in our wellness. But propolis is a very, very special part of the bee product that the product that we use as a product that bees produce.
Absolutely. So a lot of people think of propolis, however you want to call it, as the immune system of the hive. The bees literally use it as their medicine. So you can think of honey as the bees' carbs, their food, and think of propolis as their medicine or the building blocks of their immune system. And so what it actually is, so honey is made from floral nectars, so flowers. Propolis is made from plant and tree resins. The bees will collect these plant and tree resins, mix it with their enzymes, bring it back to the hive, and it's this like sticky amber colored substance. And they literally use it to line the entire hive to keep it germ-free. And for newborn baby bees, they'll actually line the cell walls with propolis to create a sterile environment for newborns. And one really interesting, weird propolis fact that I like to share. So, you know, hives in the wild, not managed by a beekeeper who can protect them, a mouse could get in. And if a mouse does get in, because, you know, there's honey and good stuff in there, it's a predator, so the bees want to kill it. So the bees can kill it and sting it to death, but they can't physically pick up a dead mouse and carry it out of the hive. The bees are tiny. And so what they'll do is they'll mummify the dead mouse in propolis, and it's that powerful as a protective agent that it protects the entire hive from a decaying rodent in their living room.
Isn't that amazing? It's so incredible. She said, can you say the name again so that we can follow her? So Beekeepers Naturals, right? It's underscore. So it's on my, I'll post it on my stories, you guys, so that you can see it. But it's, there's an underscore between Beekeepers and Naturals. So it's at Beekeepers _ Naturals. So you can follow her.
Yeah. So you can think of, so for the bees, it's their defender. It's the building blocks of their immune system. And for humans, we can use it very much in the same way. I like to think of it as my bodyguard in the bottle. So I'll use it I use it like every single day. I use so much propolis, but I use it every single day just to support my immune system. And then if I'm feeling under the weather, I'm feeling a sore throat coming on, I find that I can zap it really quickly just with a few sprays. And for humans, I mean, it's antibacterial, it's antiviral, antimicrobial, inflammatory. It's such a great healing protective substance. And then it's also full of antioxidants. And best of all, it's completely natural.
It's incredible. It's really just, it's one of those like miracle, I think, like, I hate to say that, but it really is. Like I was coming back and I was like, oh, do I have my propolis? And I was like, oh, I know where it's at. It's in my back pocket. Like I literally keep it in my back pocket. I'll walk around, especially like during the winter. I just keep it in my back pocket. I have them everywhere. I have them in my bathroom. I have it in my kitchen. I have it in my purse. I'm just like, this is my go-to. And anytime somebody, oh, by the way, I don't know if I told you this. My girlfriend had like this fungus on her toe, disgusting, but she had a fungus on her toe that she couldn't get to go away. And she sprayed this on it and it went away.
Okay. So that makes sense because it's antimicrobial, antibacterial. I am, you know, the dad from Big Fat Greek Wedding with the Windex.
Yes.
That's how I am with the propolis. Like people come to me, they're like, I have an infection. I burned my hand. I have strep throat, whatever it is. I'm like, oh, you just need this. And it's such, like, it works for so many things.
It does actually, for burns, it's incredible. It takes the pain out of your burns. You know, it's really incredible. Can I see if anybody wants to ask a question about Beekeepers Natural, you guys? Will it help with ulcers? Someone wants to know.
It's great for that because it's anti-inflammatory. So definitely it can be used for that.
Would, that was a funny question. Do you think I work on stalkers? Okay.
I think they might like you better.
And you spray them in the eyes.
Oh, I saw, is there a kids version? There is. We have a kids version.
Oh, yeah, and there's also, that's the kids version.
The kids version has buckwheat honey in it. And so it's a lower percentage of propolis and it's mixed with buckwheat honey. And buckwheat honey is actually really great for upper pediatric respiratory infections. So also coughs.
So also for coughs. Okay. There is, hold on a second. Let me see the questions here. Somebody said, she's allergic to bees. Can she use the product? I can't find the
So
question.
bee venom is a different compound than propolis. So typically we see people are okay with that, but always check with your doctor. Allergies are so case specific. So definitely want to check on that. I saw someone ask if it's good for allergies. Propolis is amazing for allergies. It reduces the histamine response. So it is like, I use it for allergies all the time.
Someone wants to know, does it work on any other pain?
It's anti-inflammatory, so it definitely can be supportive if you're dealing with inflammatory conditions like arthritis and, you know, those sort of things that cause pain.
Right. And someone,
it's like really well known for the immune system, but it really does so much.
and there's also a question about and this is a good question. How do you basically, how are you make sure that you don't take too much from the bee?
Putting the bees first.
Alarm went off. It's my reminder alarm. So on Instagram Live keeps going off. So I had to turn it off. Sorry.
This is
So can
the
you
world
say that again? So how do you make
Yeah,
sure that you're, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're all about sustainable sourcing. So everything we do, we're putting the bees first, and we're actually really trying to shift the industry in that direction, because at the core of it, we need to make sure that we see year-over-year hive growth, and we're contributing to the mission, which is to save the bees. So we take really good care of our bees. So we're constantly monitoring our hives to make sure that we never overharvest. The other thing we do is, in sort of an old way of getting propolis, because I mentioned that the bees literally line the hive with it. People used to scrape it off the hive, which is, you know, it's fine, but it's like a little bit invasive. It's sort of disruptive to the bees. It's not like the chillest way of doing it. And so what we do is we take the top of the hive off, we pop in this mesh thing, and the bees literally, if they see holes in the wall, they'll seal it up to protect them from the outer world. So they fill in these little holes with propolis, and then we just open the hive up, take it out, pop out the propolis, and it's good to go. So it's a really low maintenance way to get it. And that way as well, we're not scraping it off the sides of the hive, so the bees are sort of maintaining their natural space.
So they're not, you're not taking away any of their protection either. They're just, or their energy to use to like protect themselves again. It's just part of what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. We're really careful about that.
Right. Okay, let's see. Those are all great questions, you guys. Somebody asked, is it calming, similar to CBD? I don't know so much about that other than
propolis wouldn't really have a calming effect. It's specifically really great for any sort of illness, general immune boosting, inflammation, anything like that. We do make a CBD honey. So we make a hemp honey called Bee Chill.
Yes, I love the Bee Chill. I have it in my kitchen. It's so good. Yeah. Let's see, Texas girl. Oh, thanks. We appreciate you tuning in, Texas girl. So what is it called? I missed that part. Okay, it's called Beekeepers Naturals, which it'll be posted. It'll be up in my stories for the next 24 hours. Okay. Let's see. What else did I want to ask you about? Hold on a second. I have some notes.
By the way, girl, save the bee shirt. Look at this.
You know, I'm just trying to make the most of our time. So I have a little bit of a question about your sort of personally right now, like during this time, how are you kind of maintaining your balance? I think that's important because like you have so many resources, you know, and knowledge. What can you share with everyone right now during this time that helps you kind of like sustain your wellness?
So, I mean, for me,
wait, I have one more question. I think this is a good question. Sorry. Does it work? And where does it say for underactive thyroid? It's not that kind of like.
Yeah, it wouldn't be specifically something that operates on the thyroid. It's more something for inflammation, immune concerns, allergy, that sort of thing. It can definitely be supportive for anti-inflammatory.
Right. So basically, this the propolis is great for inflammation, you guys, of any kind. So, you know, whether it's the ulcer, whether it's reactive, right? It can make something that's inflamed calm down. Not necessarily cure something over a long period of time, like a thyroid issue or anything like that. It's just like and it also protects you. It's antibacterial, right? So antimicrobial. So it kills anything, like if you're getting a sore throat, it's really helpful, I think, in stopping anything from manifesting in your throat so that it doesn't take over your throat, that it keeps the bacteria or any kind of, inflammation, it keeps it calm.
Totally.
Okay, great. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's so hard on these things because you can't talk over each other. I'm sorry.
It's totally fine. So how I'm staying sane. So I have to do so many things because I'm so type A, and even during this time, I find that I'm busier than ever. And so I need to do like everything in the world to chill out. A big thing for me has been journaling. So every morning, my goal is to write 3 pages. Sometimes it's 1 page. If I'm really busy, sometimes it's a paragraph, but that has helped me so much. And then meditation, which is a constant struggle for me, but I work on it every day. And then just like getting out into nature, going for walks outside.
That's good. I just saw a question that says, is this okay for pregnant women?
Yes, it's okay for pregnant women. Again, pregnant women, we always recommend consult your doctor before incorporating any new thing, but we have tons of customers that use it. So consult your doctor, but.
Great. Perfect. And I also, for, let me see, guys, I'm going to get, by the time I figure out how to like get questions out of here, I know, right? Let's see. Hello from Colombia. Hello, guys. Somebody was asking about asthma. So is it, again, it's not, is it?
That's the one thing. Propolis will not be great for asthma.
Right.
So that is the one thing, don't turn to propolis as a cure for your asthma. It's not going to do that for you. It's really like you have a sore throat coming on, cough, cold, during cold and flu season, during any kind of time where you want to boost your immune system, and then any inflammatory condition. Okay.
The cough medicine, is it any kind of relief for a cough that is I had asthma as a child, and I used to have to take a specific cough medicine for asthma. This is more of like a basic cough medicine for when you have a cold, right?
It's a really clean formula. So many of the cough syrups that you see on the shelf at the pharmacy, they have ingredients that we don't understand, and sugars and fillers and colors and all these different things. And so we thought it was really time for a clean cough syrup with an ingredient profile that makes sense. So what we have in here is buckwheat honey. We have chaga, which is a mushroom known for its effects on the immune system. Of course, we have some propolis. And then we have elderberry and olive leaf extract. And I just want to talk about buckwheat honey for a second, which is in this formula. So what inspired this whole product for me, this study came out and it was comparing buckwheat honey to dextromethorphan, which is the active ingredient in most conventional cough syrups. It's like, what's in all of that cherry flavored stuff that you buy at the pharmacy. And so this study, it was looking at dextro compared to buckwheat honey, and it was looking at how it affects kids with upper pediatric respiratory infections. And it found that buckwheat honey was actually just as effective. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, well, why are we using chemicals then? And so that was the inspiration. So we built this product around that study and incorporated other incredible immune supporting products. And it's a really clean, safe formula. So it's actually safe to take proactively. I also just love the taste. So I'm like, every day.
Just said it tastes good.
It tastes so good. Yeah.
Is it safe for anybody
really? Sorry?
Tree nut. Somebody asked about tree nut allergies. Is it okay with tree nut allergies?
So tree nut allergies, again, always consult your doctor. But it's just what I mentioned in there. It's just the buckwheat, elderberry, propolis, chaga, and olive leaf extract. But again, allergies, ask your doctor.
Right. And what about like blood sugar levels? Somebody asked about diabetes. Is it safe for diabetics? I know, again, ask your doctor, but.
Yeah. So propolis has 0 grams of sugar. So this one, you're probably good. But this one, it does have buckwheat honey and elderberry. So there is no refined sugar. There's a heck of a lot less sugar than what you would find in like any cough syrup. But it is in a buckwheat honey base and elderberry base. So, check with your doctor, and it depends on how you tolerate honey.
Right. Okay. That's good to know.
It is safe for celiacs. All of our products are gluten-free.
Oh, fantastic.
You thought of everything.
I saw the question coming in. So.
This is what real wellness is about. You know, you're attacking, you're looking at what the issues are, and we have so many products on the market by conventional, you know, sort of medicine, so to speak, that are full of all of these derivatives. Really, all of these ingredients are inspired from nature, right? They've all been, there's something in nature that made whatever the company is that made the cough syrup. They went, oh, okay, so let's take what is in nature, let's break it down molecularly, let's make it synthetically, and then we'll put a name on it, we'll patent it, and then we'll make it ours, and we get to sell it to people who want to make a cough syrup, and it becomes the ingredient that works, that makes you stop coughing. But really, it was inspired by the buckwheat honey that goes into this product. But they can't patent nature, right? Anybody can go out and find buckwheat honey and treat their own cough if they know how to mix it together, right? They don't want that. They want to be able to make the chemical, the compound that they then put into the cough syrup with all the other things, the sugars and the syrups and the colors, and, you know, and sell it to you as a medicine that is powerful, when really
you're just adding all of this junk to it, and you can patent it so you can profit from it. And for me, and you know, everyone at Beekeepers Naturals, and you too, we're thinking, why can't you make medicine clean and simple and come back to basics? We have all of these different healing components from the earth, and we want to just kind of bring it back there and make things with a clean label that has a positive environmental impact and that actually works. And something really cool. So propolis, I didn't invent propolis, obviously the bees made it, but it's not new. The first recorded human use of propolis actually dates back to 300 BC. Aristotle coined the term propolis, and it means defender of the city. So this is like the OG medicine. All we're doing at Beekeepers Naturals is bringing it back to basics, working with a really incredible chem team to make sure that our formulas are truly effective and you can swap out all of your over-the-counter stuff, and giving people ingredients that they understand and medicine that's effective and clean.
So one last thing, you're just explain the organic aspect of these products, because I think this is really, really interesting, and it shows how far you go to make sure that you have a product that you can say is organic.
Yeah, so pretty early on, I realized that organic in the bee world is kind of bullshit, because you can't put a leash on the bees. So let's think about cattle. You can fence them in, you can make sure that they're eating, you know, specific, clean, organic things. Blueberries, they stay in one spot. The bees fly. So just because the bees live on certified organic ground, if the neighbors are doing something dirty and the bees fly over to those flowers, they're going to bring those trace amounts of pesticides back to the hive. So, you know, and bees.
So that goes into, that's a really interesting thing. So the environment, not just the honey, is what you're eating, right? So what you're ingesting is what is in the environment around where these bees are coming into contact. So if they go into a field that's adjacent to a cornfield that's been spraying their corn with a pesticide, that pesticide goes into that flower field. The bees pollinate the flower. They come back, or the corn pollinates in the wind, but they come back through and they end up ingesting that pesticide. They put it back and comes into the honey, which is what started your journey in the first place.
Yes,
because you wanted to find your own.
Exactly. So bees will forage and fly for a 5-mile radius. So unless you can guarantee that it's clean all around, which is really hard to do, particularly in the US, it's not so safe. So what we do at Beekeepers Naturals is we actually practice third-party pesticide testing. So we go beyond organic. So, you know, before we get we put our propolis in the bottle, or our buckwheat honey into our different medicines, we send it to a third-party lab. We test for every pesticide, toxin, and pollutant in accordance with Health Canada, which is quite rigorous. And only then when it comes back with like an A+, totally clean, do we use that product. So,
Right.
you know, we're going beyond organic because I love organic. I think, you know, there's a lot of problems with it, but I think anything you're doing to support cleaner industries is really important. So I always do make that choice when I can. But there's a lot of problems with organic, and it's not a one-size-fits-all system. So just because your bee product or your honey has an organic label, that doesn't actually mean that it's super clean or it's pesticide-free or that it's sustainably sourced and having a positive impact on the bees. There's all these different factors. And so for me, when I started beekeeping, and I think this is like really what frames the company, because I started this as just a hobby, as, you know, somebody with health issues who was looking to cure my own issues, and I just really fell in love with the bees first. We've carried all of that into the company. So it all comes from a really authentic place, and we're really trying to clean up the medicine cabinet and safeguard one of the world's most important pollinators while we do it.
It's so incredible. It's so wonderful. What are you guys doing? What's your sort of, where are you guys at with helping the bees? What is Beekeepers Naturals doing other than practicing good practices and
so
building the product?
I think one of the biggest things, that third-party pesticide testing, that actually makes, so I mean, it's so important for product quality because it's giving people something they can really trust. But environmentally, that actually makes a huge difference because now we have a benchmark. We have some ability to make sure that our bees are not exposed to the very toxins that are so harmful for them. And so it's been really interesting because we've actually seen our beehives, the populations grow year over year, contrary to population trends.
Wow.
So I think, you know, getting the bees away from pesticides is the first huge step.
So the bees are in a lot of trouble right now. Do we know what's killing them? Do we know? I mean, I feel like it's coming from all sides for bees, unfortunately, but pesticides are one of them.
Pesticides, I showed it to you while you were reading something, so I want to show you. I'll send you one. I'm
okay.
With the Save the Bees teas.
Oh, I love it.
Another thing Beekeepers Naturals is doing, we're a medicine company, but we work with different charitable organizations. One of the organizations we work with is UC Davis Bee Research. And so we came out with these, or we're coming out with these cute teas, and we're going to give a percentage of proceeds over to our friends at UC Davis who are doing fantastic things. So that's just a little thing I wanted to share. But the things that are harming the bees. So in my opinion, this is a controversial topic, but first and foremost, pesticides. So in 2006, remember when DDT was a big thing and it was killing all the birds? So when that was taken out of the game in 2006, a new class of pesticides was brought in called neonicotinoids. And it's quickly become the most common class of pesticides in the US. And it's a neuroactive substance. We know that it's really harmful for the bees, and yet so many places in the world are still using this. So huge issue for me. I have a lot of feelings on this subject, but we are very passionate at Beekeepers Naturals about no pesticide, and we're very careful with where we place our bees. We work in specific geographies. We work actually all over the world to make sure that we're away from pesticides and outside of this 5-mile radius. Right. But pesticides are a major thing. Another issue is just loss of habitat. So with urbanization, you know, there's less green space in the world, and that's really hard on the bees. So I always tell people something that they can do to help the bees is plant for them. So plants, I mean, for me in New York, literally on my fire escape, it's actually potentially a safety hazard. So, but I have like plants everywhere. So, you know, on my windowsill, I have plants. On my fire escape, I have plants. Giving the bees access to clean food, clean, you know, local flowers and plants that they can feed on.
Diversity as well.
Totally.
Of pollen, different kinds of plants. Also, oh man, damn it. I hate when that happens. I was like, oh, I have such a good question right now. Damn it. No, let's keep going. I'll come back and then I'll
I have something for that.
Oh, there you go. These are the best. I love these. I should have done a shot before I got on this. I was like, I need something to eat. I'm got low blood sugar.
That's why I have them out. I do like when I need to be in the zone. We have them at Whole Foods now too. So you guys
tell us where can people get it? The product worldwide. Is it a worldwide product? Where you sell?
So you can purchase our product from wherever you are on our website, beekeepersnaturals.com. We are also available nationally at Whole Foods. Well, more than nationally. We're at Whole Foods all across Canada and Whole Foods all across the US. You can find our products there. And yeah, that's where you can find us.
Perfect. So let me ask you about being a female founder.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's like for you as a female founder. What's your experience been from having this idea to, figuring out, creating a relationship with bees and then deciding to create the products that you have and drive this into the market? How did that work for you?
So I had a wild ride. So, I mean, I started off with my hobby. It came from a passion, beekeeping. When I graduated college, I had this like little dream of starting a bee product company, but that sounded completely crazy. Like I said, I mentioned that to my friends and family and they're like, oh, a honey company? And I was like, no. I want to use bee products to make medicine. And they're like, yeah, I think you should look for something else. So I was, really insecure and I didn't think that I had the skill set to do something like this. And I had a great job offer out of school. I was really fortunate and I ended up going into finance. And I actually ended up working on the trading floor at Goldman Sachs. So that was like all dudes. There was
That's
some
so crazy.
women too, but a lot of dudes, very, very different than like today I have a 70% female workforce. So, completely different environment, but
yeah.
It was really hard for me to take that leap. And I think I really had to change my narrative, my self-talk, from thinking that, I'm just good at this. I'm not the type of person who starts a company. I had a lot of like fear-driven personal narratives that I had to really work on to take the leap. And what it was for me was, I was making these products as a hobby, even though I was like trading during the day. And I just more and more, I would hear from different people about their health issues and about struggling in the Western system. And, antibiotics don't work for everyone. And just the issues with the world today, particularly with my friends who are young parents wanting cleaner options for their families when it comes to medicine. And it's interesting because we have like all this green juice and probiotics, but when it comes to our medicine cabinet, so many of us are still getting like neocitrin, which is full of cane sugar and all that stuff. And so the more I kind of heard about these issues and I was like, well, that sounds familiar. I just realized this has to exist and no one else is doing it. And I need to just get my confidence in check and make it happen. And so I think for me, and that's certainly not specific to female founders, but the big challenge for me was, operating in this very like traditional, successful on paper place and leaving all of that and taking this big plunge to start this company that everybody thought sounded completely crazy and dumb.
Yeah. And it is those two things are so different, right? You're on the floor trading with all these men. I've been on the trading floor. It's crazy. It's like they're animals,
Yeah.
and then you want to create something that's like fully that goes completely against, but people think that's a success, right? Like that makes a lot of people go, wow, she trades.
Oh yeah.
I think that, we can get caught up in these ideas of the things that we think, especially as women, our roles of what we should do. But what you're doing, it really makes sense that a woman is doing it, right? Because it's healing. You're taking from that energy of like the feminine and Mother Nature and like allowing her to do her job, and you kind of ushering it to to all the humans that need it and doing it in the most gentle way, I think is so admirable. That's one of the major reasons I wanted to invest in you, because I just thought that was such an incredible story that you would give up this idea of what successful might be to other people to follow your dreams. And I know that there's a lot of I'm doing a project right now, and my partner as well, she's another female, and she's an entrepreneur. She's built a couple of companies. And I know as myself, as a woman in film, it's a different thing. Actors, nobody really thinks of actors as business people, we're just acting, but there's a business aspect to it, but an entrepreneurial like adventure is completely different. And I see how people speak in the business world to women, and it's shocking to me that there is a tone where, and I'm saying this to all women who want to know, like want to start their own business, but don't think that they know how to do so. I think is that me too? Or is it just you? Anyhow, in case people can hear me, I'll keep talking until Carly comes back online. But I think for women who think that they are not able to do there you are. Okay, could you hear me at all or no? Were you?
I did. I heard that,
okay.
And then it paused. But
okay,
yes, about
so I was just saying, like, for women who feel like they, they're not going to be able to do it, like because men, there is a sort of, over the way that women are looked at in business, you're not really getting sort of the benefit of the doubt, right? You're like the man does. Right.
I mean, when I first had this idea, I went to one of my mentors who's a man, and, he means well, he's a good guy. He basically mapped up on a board where I would end up if I left, on a whiteboard, where I would end up if I left Goldman or stayed at Goldman, and where I would end up if I started this company. And the company side ended up back in my parents' basement. So,
oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And this is like
your mentor.
And this is like a dude in his 50s. I was like 26 at the time. So, that's pretty intimidating. And I've had so many situations in my career generally where I've, had assumptions made about my intelligence, or,
right.
felt like I really had to prove myself. And I think the biggest thing for me is just being like, fuck that. I don't have to prove myself. I know that I'm doing something that I care about that makes a difference for people. And I know that I just have something that matters, and I basically just have to work really hard every day to give myself that love and, show up in that way with that kind of confidence. And now I just walk into a room and I'm like, this is my fucking shit. It's good.
There's a couple of things too, I think. One, passion, like your intention, right? So like, why are you doing it? Always hold true to your intention, your passion for it. Also, fake it till you make it. If you don't have the answer right then and there, you have the answer right then and there. Answer it. And then whatever the answer is, you make that answer happen.
100%.
Because you'll make it happen. Usually you can take, when people are asking you a question in the room about something, what they're basically saying is that is what you should know. So thank you. I didn't know I should know that. So I'm actually going to go find out what the answer is now that I didn't know that I needed to know it, but now I know I need to know it. So let me find the answer, and also here's an answer to take me over till I can actually answer it,
Exactly. Yeah.
So
like I love that now. I used to be really insecure around it, but now I love the moments where people ask me things I can't answer, because it's like, cool, opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
That's just kind of like the way you need to look at it.
Definitely. And, and there are moments where you shouldn't answer if you don't know. You just say, I don't have that information right now, but I will get it.
Oh,
and
yeah. People respect that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to see also, I remember what the thing that I wanted to say. When you were talking about the pesticides and the new pesticides that are neuro inhibitors, the thing that I wanted to say about that is that I just saw a commercial. I'm not going to say the brand of which it was, but I saw a commercial that was saying, hey, this is a pesticide that's safe for you to use in your home because it doesn't affect humans. It works on the neurotransmitters of the insects. Well, they make it sound like it's just the insect that you don't want. But in fact, it works on all insects, including the ones you want around. So the bees that you want around, the moths that you want around, all of the different insects that you want around, it also works on them. So it's, that's something for people to know, that even though you think you're making a better choice, because you're not going to be affected by it, or you have the idea that it's only going to affect what you want to affect, it actually affects everything.
Yeah, no, it affects all of us. So neonicotinoids, for example, it's water soluble. So it actually gets into our water supply. It's degrading our soil. I mean, one of the big things I tell people as well who want to support the bees is don't use pesticides on your front lawn.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
So easy. Absolutely. Okay, so I think we've had so much fun. I've had so much fun with you personally.
Oh, me too.
I love I always by the end of the day, I forget to charge my damn phone for these IG lives. And like 2 minutes beforehand, I'm trying to plug it in to get to green before I go on. So I'm rolling down on my battery. So I just wanted to say thank you to you, Carly, for one, just doing what you're doing. Like, it's so incredible. Your quest to make the medicine cabinet clean and sustainable and healthy for not only for our bodies, but also for the environment is like so inspiring. It's so honorable and admirable. And I think that what Beekeepers Naturals does is like incredible. I tell every human being I come into contact, even if they're not sick, I tell them you have to get these products. And go on to beekeepersnaturals.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
To see all of their products, because there's also one for the bee elixir for your brain.
Oh, yeah. Any issue anyone has, we're trying to solve it naturally. So, we have brain supporting products, we have hemp products for calming you down, tons of immune products. So check us out.
Great. And I just want to thank everybody who's tuned in and stayed tuned for this entire conversation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And just Google Carly Stein, Beekeepers Naturals. You'll see she's talked about her products all over, and there's lots of, there's a lot of information about what it is that she's speaking about. And visit the website and pick up some of these products because it's my favorites. And also the honeys are so delicious. I also love the bee pollen to put in steaks. They're so good.
Also avocado toast, sprinkle some bee pollen on top.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting in there. Okay, guys, thank you so much, Carly. I'm so happy you're in your happy place where you're at. And stay healthy. Everybody, please stay healthy out there during this time. And I want to say cheers to everybody just taking care of themselves, taking care of the people that they love, and to you, Carly. Cheers. Cheers. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys staying with us. Have a beautiful evening or day, and I'll talk to you soon, Carly.
Bye.
Bye.